So we talk a lot about hiring product managers, right? But what happens afterward? Like you receive amazing CVs, right? And you chose the most dazzling product managers to join your team. And they said, yeah. But what happens then? What happens after they said, yes, I do. Okay, I do want to join your team. This is where the work starts because you want to invest as little as possible in their onboarding. But on the same time, you want to maximize the opportunity, right? You want them to feel secured and welcome. You want them to know exactly what is expected of them so you can take some of the work that you already have to deal with and give them to work and give them the opportunity to bring their experiences, their ideas, their thoughts into the product that you are now building. So, yes, onboarding team members, especially product team members, is a big task. And it's not something that we discuss enough. And this is exactly why we are meeting today. We are going to review processes together to understand what is not the ideal onboarding process, but the ideal onboarding process for your team. And I hope that you are ready for to the point, tactical, and as practical as it gets product management webinar because it's onboarding processes review time. And I'm not going to do this by myself. I'm going to be joined here on this stage, on this online stage, with three of our mentors, product league mentors, where we are going to discuss actual artifacts, actual processes from different companies around the world and let you know our thoughts about them. By the way, if this is the first time we're meeting, nice to meet you. My name is Moria Cassis. I'm the founder and general manager of Product League, and we help you to become the best product manager you can be. Product League is an international mentoring program for product managers by product managers in 30 countries around the world. Today, you are going to meet three of our mentors, and I can't wait to start this session. So let's do it right now. Our first panelist for today is Avishai Shafir from Israel, Director of Product Management at Self Security and Product League Mentor. Avishai is a veteran in the product management domain with experience leading product and product teams in several companies, big and small alike, including HP Software, Celebrite, Panaya, and more. Hello, hello!
Hello, how are you this lovely evening or morning or wherever you are?
Actually, it's 1 p.m. It's 1 afternoon. It is lovely. It is a lovely day. I'm a little bit freezing here in New York, but it's good. Hope the sun is warming you in Tel Aviv. What's up?
Well, everything's good. Sounds exciting thing to do. I'm feeling this topic is just at the right time for me as this week. Lucky me, we are onboarding a new product member to our team after a long and tedious lookout for somebody that is adequate or the right person for us. Now we are on the onboarding, so I have
So it's
my
all
view, but
fresh.
let's see.
So
Yes,
it's all
yes,
fresh.
definitely.
Good. I want all the juicy details. I want all the little nitty things that you got reminded of, onboarding new team members on your team. And I can't wait to learn from you, Avisha. It's wonderful to have you back on our stage. I think it's like the fourth time. Happy to see you every single time that you are here. And what shall we do now? Shall we call Michelle on the stage?
I think that it's time for Michelle, definitely.
Let's do that. Bye-bye. And now, please shout out a big hello to Michelle Ozer from Bogota, Colombia, Head of Product at Urate and Product League Mentor. Michelle has more than 12 years of experience in the tech industry. Among his most successful projects was the migration of more than 250,000 users to a new and customized platform for a Colombian financial company.
Thank you, Maria. It is nice to be here with you. Thank you for having me. I'm right now. I'm not in Bogota. I'm in Cleveland, but the weather is still good.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful to have you here with us, Michelle. It's the first time, but I hope it's the first time out of many. So I'm super excited. Yeah, exactly right. I'm super excited to have you here with us. And now it's also an opportunity for us to meet Shelly. So shall I bring her on?
Yeah, of course.
Let's do that.
Get all the team together.
Exactly. And from Tel Aviv, Israel, let's welcome Shelly Shmulak, Senior Product Manager at Walmart Aspectiva and Product League Mentor. Shelly is the co-founder of Mozzarella, the product management podcast. In the past year, Shelly has transitioned from being a team of one under a VP of product to being an active part of growing her product team. So as Avishai said earlier, it's all fresh. It's all fresh for you. You are working it right now. You're working.
Definitely fresh.
Perfect. I am looking forward to hear all the little stuff that you got to realize, onboarding new team members for your team. But before we do that, I want to welcome you to our online stage. So happy to have you here with us, Shelly. What's up?
Great. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me. Super excited.
The pleasure is all mine. And now let's make it into our little product party. We are calling Avishai and Michelle back with us, joining us on stage. And I want to give some sort of an action item to everyone who is now watching us to introduce themselves, because we want to get to know your leaguers, wherever it is that you watch us right now. Let us know who you are, where you're from, where is it that you work, what are your challenges when it comes to the big challenge of onboarding team members to your team. We want to get to know you. We want to support you. So wherever it is that you watch us right now, YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn, go to the comment section, say hello, and we would love to have you join our little product party. And one more call to action, please hit the like and subscribe button. Follow us wherever it is that you watch us right now. You know how the algorithm works. So show us some algo love, okay? And show your colleagues, your bosses, your team members, or maybe people that you think that you'll know about this session, send them the link. Show them this session so we will spread some product management love around the globe and do it together. Shelly, Avishai, and Michelle, what do you say? Shall we start this session? Because this is a big one. This is a very, very interesting one. And as I said earlier, really, it's not just about hiring team members, right? This is like, it is a challenge. It is a challenge. I'm not going to minimize that challenge. But this is where the job starts, right? Because if we bring talented people to our team, but we don't manage the expectations and the communication and the joy level even, we did nothing, right? So people would just leave the team and won't maximize the opportunity both for them and for us. So I am so excited to discuss this topic. It's an important topic with you guys. And we started with something that we like to call the 10 commandments of team onboarding process. We are going to be nitty-gritty here. We're not just going to discuss, big, high topics here, and we are going to share what we think are the commitments when it comes to onboarding processes. And I will start with one of mine, okay, to share and start a conversation. And mine is to provide a short and long-term outlook, okay? So it's not just about the short term. It's never about just the long term. And we have to make sure as managers and as team members, right? Because it's always about being both, that we communicate both with the people that we onboard on the team in a way that allow them to segment one from the other. And with that in mind, to minimize the pressure, because they understand what is expected in the short term and what is expected in the long term. This was mine, okay? And Michelle, what are your 3 commandments when we're talking about onboarding processes?
Well, as you know, I'm working for a product agency, so we have different challenge sometimes from other kind of companies where they have their own product teams and their own product structure. So I start first with the product team. Each PM of my team normally works for a different client. So we need to start gathering together, find those spaces, and trying to get that communication channel open so they can share their ideas, problems, etc. So the first thing is the introduction to the product team, and the way is, or the culture where we are into. Every company has each culture, and also each client has a culture. So how we mix that is a really big challenge that we came up every day, because we know we have a way of doing things, right? But also the client has the way of doing their things. So how we match that, and this is very important, because sometimes we prefer to keep our people very close to us, very safe, and we can skip that client because probably is not a good fit. So product team sport important, culture also, and the events that we have, like how we are going to communicate those channels also. For example, we have a product committee that we do every 15 days, where we challenge, where we explain things, and how we are doing like things together, and I don't know, problems that we can do, or we can solve through our workshops, that also works with us. The second one, it's about the framework and the tools that we can use. So we have designed a framework for the pro life cycle. This is something new that ORT is trying to adapt, because it's before we arrive. And when I say we arrive, is because we have a new structure in this company. They go with every template. They didn't have any like guide to really follow. So we create this framework that is very flexible. It tells you, it's like a guide for if you are doing a product strategy, or probably doing a design and development phase, or a growth and optimization implementation, where you know how to interact with the other roles, as an example, design or tech, or also how you can start implementing different kind of templates, and what is going on in this phase. And the third one, it's about the PM. It's about how they feel, how they are going, how they dream about to grow in the company, to grow in the client. So we have been working too much and very deep into the career path. We have designed a lot of like assessment, define how we can start growing from our experience, from our taking to training or taking courses. And also we have been doing a lot of workshops together, because each of them have different experience. They work in different industries, and that give you a lot of like insights and knowledge to that. So that are my there are lots, but there are my three main commitments.
Well,
So
it's all
here
about
I need to
prioritizing.
challenge. Here I
Yes.
need to challenge.
Take the mic.
So I don't know. So maybe what you are describing, I'm talking about the career path, the discussion about the career path. Maybe it's very relevant to a company like yours, as you are serving many other companies, and it's not a sole company that the product is working. When we are talking about the product company, I'm working for a product company. We have one product. Everybody's working on the same thing. For me, the onboarding is, in a minute, I'll share my ideas, but it's to be very focused on the onboarding. And when we're doing an onboarding, I don't want to talk now about career path, about anything. Let's be focused like we're focused when we're developing something on the onboarding. After 3 months, 6 months, it's imperative to talk about the career path and build the right career path. At this point of time, I'm not sure exactly what the new guy or he or she are going to do, how they're going to do it, what they're bringing with them. We have some assumption based on the recruiting process, but it's way too early to say whether we want them to lead a team or to lead just features or to be subject matter experts on something. So for me, in a product company, when you have one product, career path is the next step after several months.
Sorry.
I want to
This
add.
is where, yeah, exactly. I was just about to say, this is where the magic happens. I love this discussion exactly for that. And this is why I'm handing the virtual mic to you, Shelly.
Thank you. So I want to add that I completely agree with Avishai. And I think that when we recruit a product manager, it's definitely very relevant to understand their plans and their career path going forward, so that we know that they're a good fit for us as a company, and that we can definitely provide that what they're looking for in our company. But once we are at the onboarding process, assuming that we have hired a product manager to be a product manager and not under a specific trajectory of management or anything other than that, then talking about the career path might even take us a little bit off what we really aim to achieve, which is onboarding the product manager to be a product manager in a product company. I do agree with you, Michelle, that once you are a product manager that provides services to different types of companies, it's really a different scenario. And I totally understand why this would be a consideration in the onboarding in such a company. But in a product company, I really do think that this is super relevant to the hiring process, a little less relevant in the onboarding process.
And this is why there is no one onboarding path, right? This is exactly why it's so interesting with so many types of companies out there. And every day we find a new framework of companies out there, right? It can be remote. Well, a thing that 2 years ago was insane to think about, and these days it's kind of a reality. Or services companies, or companies that act more of agencies like yours, Michelle. And the fact that we are aware of the different structures of companies and tailor the onboarding processes to these companies, I think this is where the magic happens. This is where it becomes so important. And this is why I love the fact that we have 3 mentors to share their opinions here. And this is fantastic. And Michelle, my thanks goes to you for, enlightening such a delightful discussion about this topic. So thank you very much for choosing these commandments. And Shelley, we are back with you with your 3 commandments about onboarding.
Great. Okay, so my first commandment is an extension of your commandment, Maria, which is to provide a product manager on the onboarding process with clear, achievable, SMART goals, meaning a goal for day 1, week 1, month 1, and going forward, so that we will be able to measure our successes or the product manager successes, so that they will know that they are doing what they are expected to be doing and are learning what they are expected to be learning, all through the process, both on the short term and on the longer term.
You had me at SMART goals. you can stop there.
Awesome. The second commandment would be to get feedback on the onboarding plan before the onboarding process from all the team members that we're working with. If it's R&D, if it's other product, if it's all relevant personnel that are going to work with that product manager, and provide an insight if there is something that is missing, some kind of information, whether culturally or producty, whatever it is that we need to add to the onboarding plan or shift or change or adjust with the feedback that we're getting through our team members. And my third commandment is to provide a fishing rod and not the fish. We want to be able to provide the product managers that are joining our team with the tools to learn the job and understand the job, and not the solutions to what they need to be doing. We want them to become thinkers and leaders and everything that are we accept them to be. And in order for us to do that, we need to provide them with the tools and not what is expected or how things are done, or how things are thought.
Are you trying to say that we bring people to the team for the know-how? Is this what you're trying to say here?
Am I?
Thank you very much for the 3 commandments of Shelley and Avishai. I'm sure you have a lot of things to add here.
Okay, but we said only 3, so I'll try to still...
You prioritize the first 3, and we'll get back to the others down the road of this session.
They are by importance. Everything in a backlog or in a list will always be prioritized. This is the product way. So the first thing for me when somebody new is joining the team, is to map the different touch points that he's going to work with, whether it is the people in R&D, the people in customer success, marketing, sales, whatever. And I'm creating for him or for her a list of all the people that they need to work with All the people, of course, the list is by priority, who they should speak first. And we are discussing what exactly we want to achieve in this discussion. And we are playing ahead of starting it. What is the goal of this kind of intro meeting? So on one hand, it's just to get to know on the personal level and build the communication bridge. On the other hand, there is only one opportunity to make the first impression. When you join a company, you don't want to be burned out as somebody that doesn't understand what he's talking about, or somebody who is not professional about his things. So we need to be, even though it's the first week that you're in the company, we need to make sure that we understand how we are communicating. And I'm working on it with the people as they're joining before they're going, before I'm sending them to all the other people. And I'm giving them some little hints. Okay, this guy, this is the things that are most important to him. These are the most important to him. And try to get the subtext of the way that each person is talking. And the most important in this specific thing is to understand with each touch point what's in it for him in this relationship. And I strongly recommend to write it down, because you'll forget as you are going between all the different people. Write it down, and then you can go back and understand. So this is my first one. This is the most important one and the first task to do. The second one is to master the problem statement of the product that you are going to work on and understand the value proposition. One of the bad things that I see around, and as I said, I'm just doing an onboarding to somebody after a long recruiting process. And one of the first questions I'm asking when I'm interviewing somebody is, what is the value proposition of the current product that you're working on? And it's amazing to see time after time how people are talking about the features and the capabilities of the product and not of the value for the end users. So for me, diving into that as soon as possible, you need to understand what we are solving and what is the value behind it for the end user, for the customer or the prospect. Let's not talk about features. Let's talk about the values. So this is imperative for me, and it needs to start from day one and just continue and grow as you are with the company. Now, the last thing, and this is something that takes a bit longer throughout the onboarding, but in order to be good at it at the end, we're starting with it from the beginning, is to master the product. The product manager should be the master of the product. You should be the best pre-sales. You should know all the aspects of the product. Otherwise, when you go for after that to discussion with the customer or with the prospect or with solution engineers and pre-sales and such, if you don't have it, then the discussion is shallow. And though it's a beautiful song, shallow, but it's not the way to work as a product. And you need to master it. Now, first master the area that you are responsible in a big product, but then go and master the other things as well. Because when you talk with a prospect or with a customer, he doesn't know that you are in charge of that part and not on the other part. You need to understand everything. True, you will be better on the things that you're working, but you need to master the entire product. And if you can't replace a pre-sales with a notification of 5 minutes that I'm sick, I need somebody to step in and do the pre-sale for me, there is a challenge in the way that you are getting into your job, in my eyes.
Thank you very much, Avishai. Yeah, I think we have a lot to discuss today, guys. This is going to be a super interesting session. I can already feel it. And we have a few questions submitted here in the chat. Now, we are not going to answer them yet, but I do want you to know the questions, as I think they're interesting, and we will get back to these questions. Afterward, we have Ilan from Israel say hello. Hello to you, Ilan, and he's asking, team growing from 1 to 3 PMs, best framework that work for you, and for managing separate responsibilities and not stepping on each other. What are the tips, the tricks that you have to share? And as I said, we're not going to answer it, just yet. We're going to get back to these questions, and with that in mind, everyone who is now watching us and want to ask a question of themselves. So go ahead, do that. What is your question? Bring your own questions to these wonderful mentors who are joining us today, and we will get you the answers that you are looking for. It's going to be super interesting. And now it's what we got here to do. It's review time. Shelly, Avishai, and Michelle, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
That's good. Okay. We are starting with the product team onboarding process of a company named Sourcegraph. Okay. Now it's a little small here for you guys, and you can't really see it, but this is what you have me for. So I'm going to read it out loud for you. They have a checklist here for the manager, for the hiring manager. I'm going to read it out loud, and then we're going to review it, as the name of the session says. Okay, so they have the hiring process and onboarding process for all the people in the team. This is where they start, and then when they get into the product onboarding, this is where they create an onboarding Google Doc for the new teammate. They say exactly how to link it with designers and other team members. As we said earlier, it's not just about onboarding to the team, the product team, right? The other teams and departments that we work on or work with, I'm sorry. And then it's about notifying people, okay, that someone is going to join. It's about adding the person to GitHub and a long list of what to do with some suggestions and welcome doc and stuff like that. That again, it's somewhat on the operational aspect of stuff, but I do appreciate the fact that they took the time to document that as well, because usually, if to be honest, this is where we make mistakes. So they have that, and then they go down into week one with getting started, and they break it down. Day one, you get to know the team. Okay, you talk with product management, design, process. Okay, so maybe ops or something like that. They set up the basic. Okay, so it's about again IT and stuff like that. There are more operational aspects of that, and then the person who is joining the team get to know the product. They get full access to demo recordings, to product resources, to queries. Okay, sales onboarding quiz, for example, and the certifications even of how to create demos themselves. They get to know customers. Avishai, this is a little bit about value. Okay, with demo videos and feedback channels, they get full access to it on HubSpot, Product Board, and Twitter, etc. They know the tools. So here is a long list of tools. They understand company and team goals. And then they have week 2 to 3, week 4, and they're starting a large project. Now, this was somewhat of a big introduction of a process, but I do love the fact that they got everything down, especially because it seems a little bit of too much at first, but then you get to read the stuff and you're like, yeah, we do that, or we don't do that, and we should do that. So these were my 2 cents about this process, and I'm eager to learn from you guys. What do you think about how this company works? Jump right in.
So-
Yes, Shelly.
Yeah. So first of all, I love the fact that they really used the timeline to set it up for the first week, the first day, and as I mentioned, this is a very good way, in my opinion, to gradually onboard a product manager, and I think it's being done well. I am feeling that a lot of it is to provide the information, and less perhaps provide the fishing rod. So in my opinion, this is something that currently is very static, and something that I've learned in our process that I love the onboarding product managers to actually lead their own onboarding process. So we created, for example, like a Google Sheet or some kind of a file that where they could adapt, change, edit, write notes, and change their onboarding plan and lead it. So they don't really need to follow a list of like a checklist where they only collect information, but they're more active in the process and they can actually change and adapt and add to it. So this is something that I less like in their platform, that it feels a little static and maybe not too open to changes, but it's a very good structure that has a lot of information to provide to a new product manager. And it's definitely a good start so that a new person can really get a lot of context and then move forward.
I like it. So what you're saying that is everything we know about user experience goes to onboarding processes as well, and we need to make the user, this time is the new team member, to engage with the process, with the product as well. I love it. Thank you very much. Avishai, I see you smiling, and I know that when you smile, you have something to say.
Yeah. Well, typically, yes. So
Bring it
first
on.
of all, yeah, exactly. So first of all, it's awesome that somebody actually sat and wrote so many words in order to build this kind of a manifest of the onboarding. I really admire that. Honestly, I wish I was able to do something like that. I can't. Personally, I'm really a huge fan of agile methodology. And the first sentence of the Agile Manifesto is saying working software over documentation. So for me, this is a bit too structured. Now, it's true that it is important to have everything that needs to be done. My equivalent is that I'm creating, like Shelley described, I'm creating a sheet. One tab is the people that you need to meet. One tab is where you can find the different resources on the drive and the videos and stuff like that. Another one is about the market and general problem statement of the market and competition. Another one. So I'm sharing the different things, and then I'm telling the new member of the team, hey, you're a product manager. Now build the right priority as you see it. I gave you some hints here of things that I think that are important, and especially, and personally, I believe that starting to bring them into the discussion as early as possible. So yes, I understand that in the first week they don't understand anything of some of the discussion that they are part of. Yes, maybe it would be more efficient to clean the time completely just to do learning. I think that learning by experience is much stronger than just going to school and then trying. I remember my first degree, my second degree. I went out of university with my second degree, and I understood nothing. It took me another year or 2 years after graduating to understand, oh, so this is what they said in university. Cool. So pretty much the same in onboarding. I think that it should be more interactive and less structured. But hey, many people like the structure, and it's not a bad thing being in an orderly way and structured. So this is my 2 cents about it.
Absolutely. I love what you shared. I completely agree with you. I do want to highlight but that the onboarding process actually has 2 personas to cater for, both the new member and us. Okay, and I think that for the hiring manager, for the person on the team that is responsible for onboarding that person, having some sort of a document that communicate this stuff, even if a little bit rigid, which I do agree with both of you on that end, it sets the conversation to start on the right foot because we have everything listed and communicated, which is a great thing. The next thing, and this is why we review this materials with you guys, is to make it more
Can
interactive.
I jump in?
Yes.
I agree with you, but I think that for the hiring manager, the things that are important to be structured are the HR ones. So I feel that those should be more of an HR checklist, that they need to make sure that those things happen before a new employee begins, than a product manager ones.
and you're now referring to the more
Never.
operational aspects of stuff, which there I completely agree with you, because let's admit this is boring. I
But
agree
there's
with
another
you.
thing around here. There's another thing around here, which is, I believe, it's cultural kind of thing. So the document that we see right now is very US based. They know how to create processes in a very nice manner. I envy that. You know, we are Israelis. We're all over the place. Sometimes it's good, sometimes not good. But this is the way that I think we think. So I think there is a gap, a cultural gap here. This is very, if I would onboard somebody in the US, I think that he will expect something like that, and probably I will do something like that. If when I'm onboarding someone in Israel, he will look at it and he said, "What's wrong with you?" And
Where have you been all my life?
That can be
yes.
also.
There is a possibility.
Just saying.
There is a possibility that an Israeli product manager won't read it.
Yes.
And it's too much text.
Where is the TLDR?
Truth to be told, absolutely. And this subject about culture and different product cultures within companies bring us to you, Michelle. What is your take on this document and this process and the whole culture that comes with the onboarding of a new team member?
Yeah, well, I work with different cultures. We are from Colombia, Uruguay, Brazil, and the US. So it's multicultural and it's very exciting. I think the document works. I have some PMs that really need to be very structured when they getting into a new role. So I think this could work. But for our business, I think also that, as an example, the tools, probably each company or each client has their own tools. So we have to adapt to that. As PMs, I think at the end, our framework and the tools that we give to them, to our PMs, works very well. What we do and why I start with the career path at the beginning is because, as a consulting company, we work through all the product life cycle, but also we are very flexible with our clients because I don't know. Probably Shelly needs to do a product strategy, so I have a role of product strategist. So having like what a product strategy does, what are the templates that they can use, that really works very well for them as a guide. So I think this is really good. I agree with Avishai that this is very like North American guideline. Probably I will do it differently with more in a Miro template with different like the tools over there or groups of templates. I don't know, but probably something more visual that helps them to know how I can approach or tackle this new template or this new process. But at the end, I think it really works. Each PM has different skills. When I'm looking for a PM, depends of the project where the PM is going to work also. So for that reason, I think we can have like certain points that are going to be like transversal to all of them, but others probably are going to be very specific. So for that reason, I'm always sitting with them the first week or 2 weeks to be very like a coach and telling me probably how they can do something or what are the expectations of that client. And then start knowing or getting into that client and knowing and learning from stakeholders, speaking with them. All of that, those things that I'm telling you probably can be in the format, but it's more, I think, extensive for us as a consulting company that as a just regular like product area. But at the end, works. It's a good baseline.
I love it, but I want to highlight one of the things which I think one of the things you said is so important. Okay, it's always, and I want to highlight the word always, about tailoring the content to the company and the product. Okay, so even if a specific process or a doc or whatever it is worked for us in one company, okay, taking some inspiration from your example, Michelle, as I said, as a consultancy, then when we are moving to another company, we have to tailor it for that company and for the culture in that company and for that team. So I want to say that in a way, what you say is true, not just for consultancies, but for every product manager, who managed to work in different companies and to translate wisdom from one to another. So I love what you mentioned.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Three of
Thank you.
Yes, Shelley.
I want to add again, and I want to emphasize something that Michelle said, and even more than being tailored to a company and a product. Michelle has mentioned that it needs to be tailored to a product manager position. So inside a company and inside a product, we might still have different product managers that needs different types of onboarding processes. And that's a really, really good point, Michelle, that you mentioned, in my opinion, that is super, super important, that we need to tailor each onboarding plan to each product manager.
Absolutely. I love it. Thank you very much. And now we're going to review one more document. This time this is a little interesting one, because I think that one of the biggest challenges when we're talking about onboarding is the definition of when is it, the probation time, the time that you just get to understand what happens at the company, and that exact moment where everyone expects of you to deliver some value and to take work off their shoulders. And that exact time, that moment is really hard to define, but we like challenges here, and this is what we're doing today. So this document for that company, company named PeopleGoal, is about the end of probation performance review. This is their template. This is something that it's not common. Okay, I've seen only a few companies do that in a structured way, which I think actually this is what makes it to be so interesting. And this is a big part of the onboarding process, because onboarding process is not just about bringing you a bag full of swag. Okay, it's about the definition of the time when you are expected to deliver value and giving you some content and feedback in a way that builds the confidence in you to bring your know-how to the company, but will also make you to roll up your sleeves and start working. So this is what we're going to review right now. They write the employee name, the department, role title, of course, and then there is overview. How have you found your first 3 months working at the company? What's gone well and why? What could you improve on and why? And then this is where we're talking about onboarding, when the candidate is expected to write their assessment and suggestions. Okay, so if we are going back to what you guys mentioned before, make it more of a give and take process. This is it. And they're asking, how prepared were we in welcoming you to our teams? Okay, they ask about the culture, technology, mentor pairing. It's always about mentoring, role expectations, which I think this is a brilliant question to ask someone who is not longer a candidate, right? Is now a part of the company, but asking them to see if there was a gap between the way that the expectations were brought out to them when they were candidate and the way it is right now when they work for and with the company. Goals and objectives, okay, for the next 3 months. Final comments, everything they need to do. And this is where they actually ask the employee to sign, which I think has some experience to it. It's like, this is an official document. This is something that we ask you now to write, and we are going to document and to act on and to think together. So user experience wise, this is very interesting. And I can't wait to learn. What are your thoughts about this one? Who wants to jump right in?
It's a terrible headline for a document. A terrible
Yeah,
one. Terrible.
I'll hide it.
It's putting all the mindset completely to the wrong place of onboarding. It's not welcoming. It's probation. It's yes, we accepted you, but I don't know, maybe at the end of this time we'll kick you out. It's a terrible way. Now the questions are not bad. It's a basic retrospective. what we need to preserve, what we need to improve, what we need to change. This is good thing, and this is a very good thing. But making it a retrospective to your onboarding, or help us make our onboarding better and stuff like that, this is the right attitude. If I would see this kind of a document, I would feel very uncomfortable joining such a company, because it's a company that is looking at you in a very judgmental kind of way. And this is not a team spirit, and this is not, in my eyes, it's bad culture. So, and the question are not bad. The question, when you drill down to the bottom of the list, that's okay. Everything is legitimate. It's excellent. It's imperative to get the new employee view on that. But this is not the mindset to me.
That's
And
not
they
the way.
scared you
I
off.
think.
Yeah. Yes, Michelle.
Yeah, I was just going to say that this is not the way. I think it's very it's not personal. I think at the end, if us as a leaders, we need to be very close to our team and be a mentor or a coach for them. So this kind of questions, you can do it in a one-on-one, or that retrospective that you can have in order to improve your onboarding process at the end. Because at the how Abishai says, is they are good questions, yeah, but they are not the way how they are like requiring the answers. So I will say, I always tell them, I, as a leader, I am a product. I feel like a product. So tell me if I'm doing the things right. Tell me if I have to improve, or what I have to stop of doing in the onboarding and all the process that I normally do with them. So I think that's the right way to really have that individual conversations, trying to get all the insights, but more in a conversation rather than just in a document. That's my perspective.
Very interesting. Shelly?
Yes, so I'm very passionate about this document. I would like to specify that in advance. First of all, I have so many feelings. Some of them are in all kinds of directions. So hold on with me. Okay, so first of all, the name, as mentioned, is really, really terrible. And it's not just a name, it's a state of mind, as Avishai said. Looking at it as a probation, and even, I mean, it's all wrong. I wouldn't want to work in a company that calls and does anything that looks like probation. But that aside, there are a few very good things here that I love deeply. So, first of all, the fact that they are doing a performance review for a new employee is something that I think is amazing, because we many times, as new employees, as product managers, we take so much time to get our first feedback on something, our first performance review. And that is sometimes not a good thing. Sometimes we would love to get a performance review after 3 months and get a feedback to be improving ourselves. And they're using goals, they're setting goals forward and using goals up to that point. This is really a good practice. I would
And they
love
set it up together. I have to interrupt. This is
Yeah.
not a document where the new employee receive these goals from the hiring manager. They are working it together. This is a shared document.
Right. That's amazing. And I also think that the fact that they sign on it, it's an interesting way to create a commitment. I mean, I do feel that if it weren't for the probation word, I would love the signature. Because of the probation word, I am having trouble with the signature, because it makes me feel so meticulous and even uncomfortable.
Copywriting is a big deal. Yeah.
But it's not just copywriting. I think the document in itself does show some retrospect and some performance reviews elements, but they're all really under the prism that you are ending a probation time. So this is a way that this company probably works at. They probably hire product managers as a probation time, something that I wouldn't want as an employee probably, and wouldn't work in a company that starts with a probation period. But many companies might work that way, and it might work for many product managers. It's also probably a cultural thing. I'm sure that there are places that it's more common at than less. For me, it's not common, and it makes me feel uncomfortable. But again, there are a few things here that I do believe that are really, really valuable, and I wish that I could work in companies that take those really incredible things and incorporate them in their onboarding process to really provide a really good, deep feedback, performance review style with goals to a product manager after a short period of starting. That's amazing, in my opinion.
Yeah. So
things,
yes, go ahead, Vishai.
There are two things in addition that I want to say on that. First of all, I understand why you take the signature as a good thing. I take it as a bad thing. For me, it's we're working together, and a product manager is a role of ownership. Ownership is something that you are taking. It's not something that somebody is throwing at you or giving it to you. It's your responsibility. This is being a professional product manager. So
I agree, but
goals,
it is. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay. But for me, it's too formal.
I agree, but it is it is something that the product manager is taking for themselves, these goals they're signing on. So it's not something that they're accepting, but I do agree with you. It's very formal. Even if I would have done something like that, I wouldn't want it to be so formal.
Which goes back to Avishai, to what you mentioned before. Sometimes formal is good. It depends on the culture.
I agree. Now, the second thing about it is when I onboard a new company, after a couple of months, I'm going to my manager and I'm asking him, let's sit and let's talk. I want to do retrospective. I want to understand what I've done good to this point and what I should improve and what I should change and things like that, and what is the perspective. Now, I'm not taking off our responsibility as managers to go and do this kind of retrospective. That I must say that I love it when my team members are coming to me and saying, hey, I've done this, I've done that, or that. Let's talk about it. Let's have a discussion about it. I think that this is, there are many good product managers. There are some shining product managers in my eyes. And a product manager that understands that everything that we are doing, every time we need to do a retrospective, it can be of a work of a day, of a week, of a month, of several months. This is the product way of thinking. And for me, when a team member comes to me to discuss this kind of thing, oh, I love him. I know that I did the right thing choosing him to be part of the team.
Amazing.
Totally
Amazing.
agree.
That goes to culture as well. Yes, Michelle.
No, I was just saying that I totally agree with Avishai. I think it's all the time. We need feedback all the time. Go from us to them all the time, from our stakeholders, clients, because that's the only way that we're going to improve and we're going to learn more about our role and have that governance that we need to
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But I do want to say something. We do expect from all the people that we hire to our team, all the new product managers, to give us feedback, but it's our responsibility to create a culture where they feel comfortable to bring this feedback to us. So it goes both ways. I agree with you completely, Avishai, but it means that we need to create good culture, which is a big task of its own. So this is something
we need to mentor them and try them to think like that.
Absolutely. And we need to show them how to provide feedback the right way. Also a big deal. Absolutely. Thank you all for sharing your thoughts. And now we are almost done, but not really, because I want us to discuss one more thing that I think is super, super exciting. And what we are going to discuss is what LinkedIn does. Okay. I don't know what was it, but it was there. Okay, leave it aside. What we're going to discuss is culture document that LinkedIn share with their new employees, and we're going to look over it together. It says who we are, who we aspire to be. They talk about culture at the company. Okay, they set the things that they think set them apart from other companies. They present different team members. Okay, they talk about the things that they care about. For example, for them it's the transformation of self, all some sorts of cultural aspects of working in a company, especially a big company like this one. And I want to ask you guys, what do you think about this, not exactly this culture document, but the fact that we are saying, guys, when you're joining a company, you are joining a specific culture, and we want to make sure that you know our values, you know what we stand for, and we share something with you that represent who we want to be, who we strive to be, and we do it on day one. So, guys, what do you think about that as part of the onboarding process?
Well, first you saw
Yeah.
that the minute you said LinkedIn, how my dog reacted, and he was excited, and then I had to mute myself because he really took it seriously.
You should bring him on, and we will see it.
In a minute, I'll bring him on. Yeah, Michelle, you wanted to take it.
Thank you. No, how I told you at the beginning, for us, culture is very important. We have something similar that we present to all our routiers, how we call them, and it's about our values, the way we work. Now we are doing some activity to define us as a nation. So we define the flag. All the designers they are creating teams working on that. So that's part of what we want to show to not only inside but also to our clients. And when we do, for example, an offering, and we have some people that are very fit to that project, we also have like representatives of culture or innovation that goes and say, okay, that client is fit for us because they share our values and they respect everything that we are. So for us it's very important that, and I think that is the most valuable thing I have right now, like, and I'm feeling as a company, as being part of this company, and I haven't felt that in others. Sometimes they just I'm talking from my like business part and consulting part, that is, some other companies, they just want to sell. Sometimes they don't care to go over the culture. In our company we care about that, so we put values over clients. So that's very important, and that's part of the onboarding, of course.
Absolutely. Thank you, Michelle. Avishai and Shirley, I challenge you to add your thoughts, but to do it in a quick manner because we only have a few minutes left. In the meantime, I always said that what I like about it is the fact that they tailored it to their company. So they bring, photos of people that actually work there, their employees. They do it in a way that feels tailored. However, to me, it's not tailored enough as it has 49 pages to it. When you just onboard a new team member to your team, you expect them to actually work or meet with people and not just sit and read down, 49 pages. So, Shelley and Avishai, what are your thoughts about this deck?
I think that as a general rule, having some kind of a document of that sort about the culture of the company is a positive thing. I do think that it's an opportunity to really set out the values that are important to us and that will override business decisions and opportunities because they don't fit with our culture and our views and everything that in between. I think in the world of AI and technology, there are so many slippery slopes, and we need to define those cultural things in advance. I do think, and I'll try to make it shorter, I do think that a lot of these things, again, should be more in the recruiting process and less on the onboarding, because we need to make sure that the person is aligned to our culture before they start working with us, not after, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Avishai.
Cool. Well, I have only very few things to add about it. In general, I love it. I think that it brings a sense of pride to belong to such a company. I believe them. When I see this lady smiles and proud of what she's doing, I believe her. Now, 49 slides, yes, it's a bit too much. But when we're talking about something more condensed, then yes, I think it's an excellent way of showing. I agree.
Is it just me or we lost Avishai?
I think we lost it.
We lost him. Okay, he will be back with us. I trust him to fight the demons of bandwidth somewhere. He will join us in just a few, I guess. And you are back.
I don't know. Maybe my internet connection does not believe what I'm saying because it's
linked.
But we believe you. We believe you. That's okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Shorter, but it does bring pride to the company. Now, time is over. Okay, but we still have some questions to ask and to answer. And I promised Ilan virtually promised Ilan earlier that we're going to answer his questions. So I'm going to challenge you guys. We're going to do it super quick, super sharp, super concise, but we are going to help him with his challenge, asking team growing from 1 to 3 PMs. Best framework that worked for you guys. Bring it on. And he's super specific here because he has to manage separate responsibilities and not step in a way that allows the team members not to step on each other. Go ahead. How shall he do that? Who wants to jump right in?
Vertical. In one word, vertical. Take the product and build vertical and have your product managers own from the beginning to the delivery along all the way, so they'll have sense of ownership of what they are doing. Yes, it's challenging at the beginning to find where exactly the lines, and there will be a lot of communication will be needed in order to make sure that the lines are properly set. But try not somebody is working on the first stages of the feature, and then somebody done, and then somebody is sending it out to the field. No, ownership all the way, if it's possible. My 2 cents.
Thank you. Michelle, anything to add?
I think that, when you have one team member and then they become 3, there will be a stepping, and you need to accept that to a point, because one person used to do everything. So there will be things that will be taken from that person to a new product manager, and that's okay. You need to do that in a very managed way and with collaboration with both that original team member and the new ones, to make sure that you do have clear lines and understanding of each and everyone's ownerships, but know and accept that it will happen.
Absolutely. Michelle, anything to add?
I will just add, set expectation, roles and responsibilities, and add everything that Shelley and Javid said, and I think we are completed.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And one thing on my side to add is that think about activities and ways for you to enhance team culture, because this group of people is now growing from 1 to 3. And it's a challenge for all of them because they don't really understand what is going to be the structure. And you have to make sure that you align all of them, not just around the responsibilities, but also in the way that you expect them to treat each other. So if you set it to be a group that works together as a team from day one in a way that respect each other and not think that there is some sort of hierarchy or stuff like that, most chances are that it's going to work out for you. So this is for you, Ilan. Thank you very much for your question. It was a brilliant one, and I'm sure that everyone got benefited out of her. These were Shelly Shmurak, Senior Product Manager at Walmart Expectiva and Product League Mentor, Michelle Ozer, Head of Product at Urit and Product League Mentor, and Avishai Shafir, Director of Product Management at Soul Security and Product League Mentor. I am Maria Cassis. This is Product League. This is what we love to do. We love to help product managers around the world to become the best product managers they can be. Please hit the like button. Follow us wherever it is that you watch us at right now. Don't forget to join us next time. And Shirley, Michelle, and Avishai, I had the best time talking this challenging topic with you of onboarding team members, onboarding product team members. Thank you so much for all the wisdom, the tips, and the tricks that you brought to the community. I'm sure we've all grown from that. And until the next time, go league it up, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye, guys.